We're here with Alex McDowall, the Chief Operating Officer of the Scottish Junior Football Association. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon. I'm good.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to the weekend of the Scottish Junior Cup semi-finals this weekend coming. We've got two very interesting semi-finals. We've got Auchinleck Talbot versus Darvel on Friday night, and on Sunday, Arthurlie Johnson Borough.
Two good games. Looking forward to them. Looks like there's quite a big crowd in both of them as well, so all good.
Ticket sales going very well for both games, yes?
As far as we're led to believe, yes.
Great, fantastic. Friday night, obviously being the first, Auchinleck Talbot, the first name probably synonymous with the Scottish Junior Cup, won the cup more times than any other team.
Yeah, the amount of times they've won it is unbelievable, you know, and this season they didn't have a great start to the season, but they progressed and they kept in the cup. They're now at the semi-finals. Both Darvel and Auchinleck both still going for the league. So, you know, it's going to be a tasty fixture.
It's definitely a game Darvel will fancy themselves as well, though they won't just be turning up.
I think the two of them will fancy it, you know, so that'll make for hopefully an entertaining game rather than a hold back and see where it goes one.
I can't see it being cagey this Friday, no. The return match of that is obviously a week on Saturday, is it?
Week on Friday.
Week on Friday, that
one. Week on Friday at Darvel, so, you know, hopefully there's still a lot to play for both teams in the second leg. You know, it's good. It's went back to a two-legged affair this year.
It has, yeah.
More to do with finances than anything else, but we'll talk about that later on.
Sure. Sunday we've got Arthurlie against Johnson Borough. Again, a game difficult to call.
Yep, I think it's two evenly matched teams. Arthurlie's in the Premier. Johnson Borough's pushing to get into the Premier. Maybe a few wee blips recently. They've recently lost their manager as well. So, do you know what? I think it's a very evenly matched game there as well.
And again, the flip side of that game is going to be next Saturday evening, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We moved it because it was clashing with another game somewhere else.
That's right.
So
yes.
We moved it.
Well, that's common sense.
Yeah, it's never normally used when you mention us, but yeah, common sense. We moved it to 5:30 on a Saturday night. Hopefully the neutrals will get along after their own games, and again, bumper crowd.
Right, exactly. That gives both clubs and both games an opportunity to get the biggest crowd they can.
Yep.
Great. Clubs are obviously quite happy about getting back to two-legged semi-cup finals.
Yeah, some are happy. I've not heard them disagree with it. No. I know it might be hard for Kenny Young, the fixture section of both the West and the Scottish Junior Cup, you know, and it kind of maybe puts them in a position a wee bit. But, you know, the excitement I think outweighs that, so, you know, I'm quite happy we're back to a two-legged one.
Good. All four teams will be looking forward to the Junior Cup final on the 2nd of June. Also looking forward to hopefully making the final.
Yeah, back to a Sunday. Friday last year, it was needs must, you know, BBC Alba, I think it was the Euros or whatever it was, but you know, we had to have it on the Friday night, and it worked. In fairness, there was about 4,500 crowd there. Yeah. You know, so it worked. It was quite good. Everybody was clamouring at me to have it on a Sunday, and in fairness, our preferred option would be a Sunday. Yes. So we're back to the Sunday this year, and hopefully Sundays every year. You know, we can do what we do.
Great. Well, as you said, it was a crowd of about 4,500 last year, I think it was, with Rutherglen and Cumnock, which was a fantastic crowd on a Friday night. Atmosphere was fantastic. Yeah,
it was. Thankfully, it was two teams for the West.
That's right, yeah.
Because if it had been somebody for Aberdeen, then the Friday night, it would have killed it. You know, we probably wouldn't have been able to get the fans down, or the team down, never mind the fans.
Yeah.
So that's also part of the reason to have it in the Sunday, and the fact that it's at Broadwood, you know, it's kind of central, not as central as what it probably could be, but it's a great stadium. The guys work ways very well.
They do, yeah.
We've got a big scoreboard, we've got the LED boards, hopefully a few other things, but they're not ticked off yet, but we'll see where it goes. So there's also advertising available on the LED boards that are around the ground that will show on BBC Alba as well.
They're selling quite well at the moment, but there's still some spaces available, isn't there?
Yeah, they're actually doing really well, you know, and it's bringing more income into the association, which then allows us to put it back out.
Great, fantastic. We've obviously been looking at the prize money for this season's tournament, which has been up significantly on what it's been before.
Well, it's not just up, you know. I think the big thing for me is it's spread. You know, it's put out to the last 32. If you get put out in the last 32, you get £100. If you get put out in the last 16, you get £500. The quarters, I think it's £2,000, and if you get put out in the semis, it's £5,000. And if you get to the final, you're guaranteed a minimum 10 grand, but if you win it, 20 grand.
It's just fantastic for a club at this, of our level, isn't it?
Yeah, well, listen, there's nobody around about who does anything like that, and it shows. Listen, the Junior Cup's not just about money, it's about prestige, it's about history, it's about everything else, but the money helps, you know, let's be perfectly honest, you know, we're professional clubs now, you know, and money helps, and spread out to the last 32 I think makes a difference. So listen, we tried it this year, it seems to be successful.
Yeah, 60-40 split of the prize money, is of the gate money, is something that's attracted a bit of interest.
Yeah, I think the 60-40 thing on paper sounds horrendous, and from a PR point of view it is. 60-40 might actually be a wee bit more than what we're still waiting for. We're still waiting for 50-50 I think, but that should be addressed at this year's AGM. Believe it or not, the 60-40 thing was actually done for the favour of the teams in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Previously, if you played in the semi-final, you get 5 grand. It was played a one-off game at a neutral venue, and the association never really get any money out of it. Which, you know, we've got to look at everything as purely business and see what we can do with it. So I looked at it, the two-legged semi-final, with each team playing at their home ground, based it in roughly 2,000 people at each game, which I don't think's
not
out of
unrealistic.
reach. You know, I based it on an average of $7.50 a ticket if you take into account, you know, the full price and the concessions. In 2,000, the association will get 9 grand and the clubs will get 6 grand at that point, which doesn't sound a good deal for the clubs. But then when you take into account that, you know, you can sell hospitality, again I based this in some of the bigger clubs, right? So I based it in between 50 and 100 at hospitality, maybe brings in another 5-6 grand. Your raffles, you know, if there's 2,000 people there, you might get 1,000 off it. Your pie stalls, your sponsorship that you can sell at the bar if you've got a bar, anything else you can do if you've got a programme and you're selling advertising a programme.
I noticed the clubs this weekend have got special programmes announced for instance.
You know, and it's great, but the other thing is if you go out in the semi-final you get 5 grand. So I estimated that the clubs could actually generate for themselves 19 grand.
Fantastic.
You know, and that's the association having their part at the side, which then allows us to pay out further, you know, helping other clubs out and whatever else. So, you know, what it also does is it kind of helps us increase, you know, the awareness of the cup, try and include others back in. We've already got 2 teams that are looking to come back in next year, and that's 2 teams that have came and spoke to us. I've not even went to them. We can look at the social media side of it and how we promote it a bit more, how we can monetise that and bring more money in to put more money out. You know, I'm a great believer that what we do is for the clubs. You know, there's no point in the money coming and sitting in there and, you know, building up a pot. That's no for me, and anybody that knows me knows that, you know, when you bring money in, it goes back out. You know,
I think there was a misconception that 60-40 was around almost profit seeking from the association. Well, that's not really the plan. We've obviously mentioned prize money being paid out to the last 32. That's certainly some part of the same conversation.
Well, you know, out to the last 32 and it's £100, it might be £200 next year.
Yeah.
You know, we can look at different things. We're also looking at how we can help with travel, because the price of buses is rocketed.
It's phenomenal.
So we need to look at what we do there, but you know, as I've said before, we need to get a fund for social media. We need to figure out how we promote ourselves a bit more, how we monetise it, how we get more sponsors in, because getting sponsors is really hard, as I've said to you.
The clubs will know that as well. You know?
The clubs will know that, but the more exposure we can get for the association and the clubs, the better it is, you know, and the possibility they might get something off it. But the 60-40 thing, you know, if you put it out there at 60-40, then we're all the bad guys under the sun. And I understand that.
We get that, yes.
But when you explain it and when you see the process behind it, it might not suit some people's agendas, but it was actually done for the benefit of the clubs in the semi-finals. And as I say, they could walk away with 19 grand.
Not even just the semi-finals, as I say, we pay out money to the last 32, so it helps out the bigger picture as well.
The 60-40 was aimed for the semi-finalists. It was actually aimed at that. The bonus is that we'll get other money off it, which will help us spread it about later on. But the actual 60-40 was done for the clubs.
Yes, right. You touched on obviously sponsorship. You mentioned the LED boards are available for sponsorship for the Cup final. We've been very lucky to get some very good sponsors for the last year or two, certainly for the tournament.
We have Scott at Clyde Built Home Improvements has been my sponsor the last couple of years, as has Only Sport.
Yes.
The two of them have done very well for us, and we really appreciate it. You know, where they continue next year or no, it's still to be seen. We'll ask them, but you know, it's hard, you know, because I don't think these guys get as much back as, you know, what they could do.
Yeah.
Listen, from a business point of view myself, I'm my own businesses, sometimes you're just donating money more than actually advertising and trying to get stuff back. We've also got Indigo Unified Comms coming on board. Craig's a good friend of mine, and you know, he's kind of come in and kind of helped us out a wee bit with putting some money into the final. There's a number of businesses already contacted me, and I've been in contact with about LED boards. You know, they'll be shown round the ground, they'll also be shown on a big screen that's across for the main stand, and they'll be shown in BBC Alba.
Which is a big thing.
Yeah, it is. You know, having the boards is really good as well. Takes us up a wee level as well.
Looks a wee bit more professional as well, the game too, doesn't it?
Listen, there's a chance here of showing it on BBC Alba. You know, I've looked at other things, and the boards are only worth having unless it's on the telly. You know, that's what it's about. It's about giving exposure to the guys that are coming on board that maybe can't sponsor a full tournament, but they can make some sort of donation to you know, help the association and whatnot. And, you know, any clubs I've got MD that's interested, feel free to get back to us. We'll speak to them, and if we get it with your recommendation, and I'm quite happy to put something back to the clubs as well.
Fantastic. Last touch on the sponsors, Only Sport have obviously granted a voucher for the exit round for each round. That's been another wee bonus for the clubs this year.
Yeah, and if you went out in each round, not just for the this was right for the start. You know, any round you went out in, you went into a hat and get pulled. If you get pulled out, you get a £500 voucher.
Fantastic.
For Only Sport. Obviously, you got to the 32, you get cash as well and whatnot. But Only Sport have been very good ways with that. We're going to be buying a lot of balls off them for the AGM and whatnot. So it kind of works both ways there. We give them something back. But yeah, Only Sport's good, and they've got a lot of good products now as well. Great.
And the guys from Clyde Home Improvements will be with us at the final, hopefully.
Scott supported me a number of places, but you know, he's been involved the last 2 years, and he's been at a couple of the draws that, you know, and helped out with a couple of the draws. So, you know, thanks very much to Scott and all the guys at Clyde Home Improvements. Let's see where it goes from now on.
Fingers crossed. Well, all the best for the semi-finals, Alec, and we'll speak to you before the finals.
Thanks, Richard. Look forward to it.
Thanks very much. Cheers.